Welcome to the fourth episode of season 3 to the Talking Shop podcast. My name is Michael. This is Josh. Josh, how are you?
I can't complain.
Oh, come on. How are you? Are you feeling
older? I feel a little older today for some reason.
Guys, if you guys don't know, and if you're catching this, obviously you're catching this on the recording, but take some time, drop a message on the Facebook page, on the Instagram page, wishing my co-host Josh a happy birthday. Happy birthday. How old are you?
30 never felt so good. All right, I'm 44. I'm old.
Turning 11 for the fourth time.
Yeah, I like that better.
My goodness. Well, happy birthday. We're recording a little bit earlier in the day so that you and your family can celebrate that. So thanks for sharing your birthday with me, Jacob, and whoever's out there listening to this. So how was the weekend at the shop?
Weekend at the shop was strong. I am thankful. Our Friday, Saturdays are always really strong, and this weekend was no exception. So I didn't have much Lorcana. Lorcana sold really well, and little crumbs throughout the week. And I've got a few more little crumbs of Lorcana coming in a couple days, but I don't have another wave of booster boxes coming yet. I was told September. So if anyone's interested in booster boxes, I was told at some point in September, I'm getting a bunch more. They just didn't have an exact date yet. The official release is September 1st. So that's when you'll probably start seeing it a little more mainstream. And I would assume that's when we'll get our second wave, because we had that little sanction store head start on selling that product. So
nice. Well, before we get into the opening rip, let me do a quick rundown. As I mentioned, we're going to do the opening rip where we talk about one of my favorite days of the year, when school starts. Then we're going to go and talk about other products that are going to be hitting the shelves this week at Grand Slam. We're going to jump behind the counter and talk about what could be the craziest week in the hobby that we've seen since we started doing this podcast. Some listener questions, card or cards. It's a little light this week.
I have a cool card I can show that I got back from PSA, so we'll show that. That'll be a card.
A cool card from the shop, and then as usual, crazy stat of the week. But first, let's do the opening rip. Josh, tell me, as a kid or even as an adult, how often did you watch The Price is Right?
Quite often as a kid. Anytime I was sick and was home from school, or there were 3 years that I was actually homeschooled. So my morning consisted of getting up, eating some cereal, watching The Price is Right, watching Three's Company, and then doing my schoolwork. So yeah, I am very familiar with Price is Right.
So if you guys didn't know, Bob Barker passed this weekend, and so there was all sort of on social media a lot of nostalgia around that. I grew up, my memory with The Price is Right was my grandmother actually lived with us, and she didn't speak a lick of English, none. I mean, she knew hello and hi, but that's about it. But my grandma loved The Price is Right. I'm not really even sure how she even made sense of it, but she loved it, and she had it on every single day before, she started watching her soap operas, but, yeah, Bob Barker was part of our household for years and
Yeah,
years and years.
so many households. All those games are iconic. Like,
Yep.
I even think we used Plinko at trade night. Like, I literally built a Plinko board for trade night and for some other stuff at the shop. So, like, the amount of ways he's intertwined in everybody's lives in that game show is you go to the arcade now, all the spinning things you roll
Yeah.
and spin. And did you ever watch there's like a YouTube short documentary about the dude that had like all the prices memorized and went on to the show and basically got the every item right on the dot, and it was like a huge controversy. You should watch it if not. Pretty
Well,
impressive.
there was The Price is Right, and then his cameo appearance in Happy Gilmore, classic. So, RIP Bob Barker,
I
just
did make
brings
a
all kinds of memories back.
Mackie posted on his social media about Bob Barker passing away, and I said, "Hey, he made it closest to 100 without going over because he passed away at 99." I was proud of that one. I made that up off the top of my head.
Well, before we move on, well, you mentioned things were great at the shop. Thank you guys. If you guys came to the shop this weekend, keep helping make those weekends at the shop fantastic. Couple things on a personal note. I took my 16-year-old, and I want to give this just an unsolicited um, I don't know, a spot in the podcast. But if you guys haven't heard of this program, um, it's a driver's ed program. They had it at the Dragway. Is it called the Dragway up in Concord? It's
Drag
right
strip.
across
That's
the
my
drag
type
strip.
of driver's ed.
Um, and it's called Breaks. And what it stands for, it's an acronym for something, but they take donations. It was spun up by a guy who lost two of his teenage boys in the same accident
Oh wow.
years and years ago. And they teach kids how to handle real life things on the road. Like they had this one section for parents. And so I got to drive a car and hit the brakes as hard as I've ever hit the brakes in a car ever, and in a safe environment. So they let the kids do that. They teach the kids how to. They put these skid plates on the back of cars on their cars, and so like in a 15-mile-an-hour turn, they were like spinning out. I've got video of it. What a fantastic program. So if you guys have a teen that is starting to drive, a teen that has been driving, look up the brakes program. It's spelled just like it sounds, brakes. And they
B
will tell
R
you when.
E A K S.
Yes.
Brakes. There's two
Yes.
ways to spell brakes.
Brakes, the normal brakes. And
Well,
it's an
what's the normal
acronym.
brakes? Like car
It's
brakes or like
yes.
Grand Slam brakes?
No, not
Or
grand
like
slam. Get your head out of the cards.
what glass
Break.
brakes? It's spelled different than
Breaks,
car
like
brake.
car brakes. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad we're recording.
B
The
R A K E
Brakes,
S. I would
brakes.
say that's the least common way the word brakes is used, even outside of cars. Just clarifying. I want people to be able to find it.
Absolutely. Find it despite my poor judgment in how to explain how to spell brakes. Find it. And it's important, guys. If you're listening to this or watching this, find out when enrollment opens and act like you're buying a PS6, like right when it gets released, because this thing fills up in about an hour. So well worth it. The best value ever. And it is donations. They ask you to make a $99 donation, and they even offer it back the day of the class. If you want it back, you can have it back. But it is fantastic. So, Josh, how close is your oldest to driving, or is he already driving?
I mean, he should be driving right now. He's got his permit. He just needs to actually take a driving class, believe it or not. So
Built-in chauffeur. Get him behind there. Get behind the wheel.
Trust
Come on,
me.
man.
Trust me. We've discussed this at length at my house because we got to run these guys around town 24/7.
And then I mentioned at the top of the episode, this is like Christmas for me. School starts. Man, it is fantastic to have the house cleaned in the morning, and then in the afternoon, it's still clean. It's amazing.
I wouldn't know that
Have
feeling.
your kids been in school for a while, Josh?
Yeah, this is like their second week at least.
Oh,
So I don't like it because it requires us having to get up and run them all over God's green earth for school. So in the summertime, we all get to sleep in. But
yeah, no.
and I'm at work while they're. Well, I'm down here while they're at school anyway, so I don't get to even enjoy the peace and quiet. So
Yeah,
not a big a deal, not as big a Christmas for us as it is for you.
the bus stop is like pitching wedge away, so I could see. So I don't even have to leave the porch. I just wave like, "Bye, guys. Have a good day." So now it's time for doing the shop. Josh, what's hitting the shelves at Grand Slam this week?
There's a few things that were released this week. Top Cosmic Chrome Baseball, Prism Draft Football. So it's a draft product, but that's just one step closer to the season starting because that's always towards the beginning. And so that's coming. That's Wednesday. And then Encased Football is also Wednesday. So 2 football products and a baseball product. And then some random fill-in stuff that we're always trying to fill in to keep the shelves full here at the shop. There was a Leaf product that came out last week, Wednesday or Friday, I can't remember, that we didn't talk about. It's a Leaf buyback product. It's a basketball box with 1 buyback card per Leaf solo basketball buyback or something like that. So saw the first one opened. It was a Kevin Garnett autograph out of Prism. So I'm like, this could be a really good product. So that was one product.
Hold on. So this is Leaf they're buying back non-Leaf products and then using their
Packaging.
autograph licenses to put autographs on non-Leaf products?
No. So this was like they bought an autographed Kevin Garnett Prism card and repackaged it. So because it's not got Leaf branding on the card, I would assume that allows them to do this. But, just like that'd be a bad example. But yeah, Leaf does some other buyback products, and this is one of them. So I mean, the first box we saw open was Panini Prism basketball with a Kevin Garnett auto. So I'm like, this is pretty cool. So we didn't mention that last week, and we've got it on the shelf here. So
awesome. Jacob actually put this in our private chat, said that they actually buy Panini cards, and that auto is a Leaf auto that they're putting on that card.
I'm going to argue with him on that.
Oh, let's get this going. Jump off the top turnbuckle.
If I send you the picture, Jacob, can you throw it up on the screen? And I'm going to prove you wrong, sucker. All right, you should have the picture. This was a card that came out of Leafs buyback. You tell me if that was a Prism autographed card out of Prism that Leaf just purchased and threw in their Leaf box. And there it goes. That sure looks like a Prism card that Leaf just purchased, threw in a one-touch, threw their sticker on the case, and boxed her up. Now, you could still be right that they do that. They buy back cards and have them re-autographed. I suppose
but not this particular one, you're saying.
Yeah. So mind your business and stay in the back of this podcast. Just kidding. I probably have to get corrected all the time anyway. So, but this is one where it's just straight up. Sometimes you can even go on eBay and find where Leaf has purchased these cards because if they're selling something.
Our days without incident has now just been reset. So
what Jacob say now?
He just posted another. He just posted another one. I don't know if this will rebunk or debunk the whole conversation. So if you're listening to this, we are looking at a Kevin Garnett auto, and it looks like the Prism auto. And Jacob, can you put the Trevor Lawrence that you just put up in the private chat?
So my question would be like, so this is a green Prism that they've put a Trevor Lawrence autograph sticker on, but how is that linked to Leaf in any way?
So this was in the Leaf buyback box, correct, Jacob? Is that what you're saying?
No. He's saying
Leaf
no.
sold it on their website. That's what he's saying.
Interesting.
So in the comments, if you're listening to this or watching this and you have can offer some clarity around this, we would love to know. I think it's a cool idea. When you first talked about this, I thought that Leaf was buying back cards and then using their autograph licenses to put autographs on these cards. I thought that would maybe stir the pot a bit, but I like the idea. Anyway, that is on the shelves. Go pick it up, rip a box, find out for yourself. I do want to go back and talk about a couple of the releases this week. Topps Cosmic Chrome, my favorite product from last year, baseball wise. I know you've got Flagship. I know you have Chrome. I know you have Bowman, but I was always a fan of Topps Fire. And I think the only mistake they made of this product, they should have called it Topps Fire Chrome instead of Cosmic, but they're going towards this whole space theme. Great product. I wish you were getting more of it, Josh.
Yeah, I don't think I got any of it last year. It was one of these products that it's like either they don't make a lot of it or they're really stingy.
And that's the thing that appeals to me is that it seems like it's another limited release. And so I'm excited to see what comes out of the box that you got in the shop. One that you did not mention that I will mention is Topps Star Wars Galaxy Chrome is also releasing this week. Another one of my favorite products of the year. Beautiful cards, beautiful artwork.
In my defense, I requested that one, but I couldn't get any allocated to me. And I often, on stuff like that, unique stuff, if I get it allocated and can grab it on launch day, I'll get it. If I have to go back and buy it, I usually don't, unless it's a really big staple product. But I did, in my defense, I tried to get that one allocated.
That is new in the shop.
I thought you were going to bring up Garbage Pail Kids Chrome since you like Garbage Pail Kids. That's this week.
I do. So the Garbage Pail Kids thing is more Susan's thing. She loves that. So I will probably, where I can find that, I will pick up a couple boxes, hold a box, and have her rip a box and see if we can pull something ridiculous out of there. So now let's jump behind the counter for what is the subject of our shake and bake thumbnail. I had to put that photo in. Love that movie. Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, fantastic together in a movie. But Josh, I don't know about you. Since we've done the podcast, I don't know if there's been a week news-wise that I can remember that was as full as last week. What say you?
Yeah, with some real shakeup stuff that makes people get a little nervous, myself included.
Well, talk about that. What's got you a little nervous?
Well, with Fanatics coming down the tracks like a freight train, buying up everything in sight, it changes the way that our distribution is handled, you know. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little uncertainty when Fanatics bought Topps. Right out of the gate, our Topps allocations went up, and I was like, ooh, this is going to be a really good partnership. But then it's been a little weird since. I'm getting some weird allocated numbers on some of these products. So, we've got some behind the scenes stuff we're working on to try to get that straightened out. But, just the uncertainty of football product, that's super. You could look at the release. You're like, well, let's see. Donruss Elite, Mosaic Football, those are coming down the pipeline. Are they like not going to be allowed to release those? You know, so they're just the uncertainty of all of it. I know Panini's putting up a fight. I've tried to steer clear of giving my opinion too much because there's just so much uncertainty right now. But yeah, it's definitely there's a lot of stuff being shaken up.
Yeah. So if you've been under a bit of an internet rock and do not know what we're talking about, um, Fanatics, well, actually, it was the NFL Players Association announced during the podcast last week when we were recording that they terminated their agreement with Panini. Since then, Panini has tried to backtrack on a couple things, and as it stands now, a week later, I have read that Panini has filed a request for arbitration um, with over whether or not the NFL Players Association can unilaterally cancel its licensing deal with Panini. So, as a collector, as somebody in the hobby, as you said, it makes you a little nervous because number one, uncertainty is bad in any situation, right? It just stirs up confusion, and you don't know what to make of it. Number two, and this is my understanding of it, and Jacob, if you have any sort of clarity, or if anybody in the chat or watching this, or Josh, if you can provide clarity around this, as it stands now, if they move forward and Panini doesn't get a result that they want out of this arbitration, it means that Fanatics can produce cards with players on it, but no logos. And Panini can produce cards with retired players and maybe even like draft picks or
Well, I think
prospects.
so. They still have like 300 and something
That's what I
players
read. Yes.
under contract too. So if I navigate this correctly in my brain, they could, in theory, use those players and their likeness and their autographs, but not the team logos. So they could make some kind of Panini baseball feeling type product with football players. So let's say Joe Burrow is one of those. They could make a Joe Burrow autographed card for a certain product that just doesn't have Bengals logos on it, kind of like Leaf does and does well. So yeah, it would definitely hurt the value, but at least they'd be able to turn some product out. But that's where you start to get into speculation, like what they can do and can't do. And
Right.
so I'm just going to wait and see where the dust settles.
Yeah, the nightmare scenario, and this isn't coming from me, this is coming from what I've read and I've seen online, is that we don't have licensed football product for an extended period of time. That's the nightmare scenario.
Yeah, and some of these like Mosaic, Flawless, Elite, some of these key brands just won't get released this year, or it'll be a really weird release. It's just hard to say. I think it's already gotten a little bit weird because brands like Score and Legacy, some of these early football brands that are out, they don't have Bryce Young and CJ Stroud autos and several others because those guys are signed with Fanatics. And so
Right.
you've got their cards, but you don't have their autographs in some of these early products. So if you want a Bryce Young rookie auto right now, it's a Bowman product because of Topps owning Bowman. So it's already weird and it's getting weirder. I know it'll work itself out, and by next season, things will probably be the way they're going to be going forward for a while. But this season could be really weird, which could lend itself to either, having some weird product, maybe this 2023, if there's not going to be as many of these guys as rookie cards or something, maybe that would mean some of the early releases of products like Score and Legacy that aren't typically very good, maybe they get a little better.
Yeah.
Who knows? We've got them on the shelf down at the shop. Come and get
another, and this is sort of faded into the background, and it's probably a good thing because it's not a very, it's a hobby story, but it's not a very positive story. But the whole Wander Franco thing, it looks like that still needs to shake out and come to a conclusion. But um, I haven't heard anything
It's
definitive.
it's kind of
Um,
odd the amount
yeah,
you're not hearing about this case.
yeah,
So I don't know if it has to do with his home country and what they're wanting to release info wise, or if they're just maybe protecting him because he's such a good player with such a promising future. I don't know, but it's a little odd that normally these types of stories are just plastered everywhere and it's all anybody can talk about for a while, and it's very quiet. I'm hoping that for his sake and the hobby's sake that something positive comes from it, but I've just been saying we're not buying Wander stuff, and I hope something good comes out of it, but it doesn't look very good at this
yeah.
point.
Um, and another sort of ouch moment for the baseball side of the hobby is that Shohei got injured last weekend. And so you had all this value on the baseball side of the hobby sort of evaporate with the whole Wander situation. Um, and maybe it's a testament to how great Shohei is, but I feel like his pricing is pretty stable based on the fact that he's going to need another elbow surgery. And
Yeah,
it's a like I said, it's a testament to his greatness on the offensive side of things that his hobby value has stayed consistent. Now
yeah.
you're not gonna see any more spikes. I think people are sort of holding back. But as far as holding their value, it's impressive. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
the fact he's gonna still remain hitting, I think helps keep his hobby stuff alive and well, and he could focus on hitting for the rest of the season and maybe make a run at one of those records, or at least really turn some more heads with the home run numbers he'll put up, perhaps. I think that helps.
If he gets super hot, he can win the Triple Crown, right? He's
Sure.
got a
I mean, if
shot.
he gets super hot, he'd still, I mean, he has to really pick up the pace, but he could make a run at Judge's record from last year.
Yeah.
Um, or even if he
It'll
just
be
toys with it.
interesting. It'll be interesting to see how much more fresh he is mentally and even physically when he's not pitching. And if that's going to make a case for him moving forward for just being a hitter. But I don't I don't know the stats on this. I don't know how many Major League Baseball pitchers, starting pitchers or closers have ever come back from 2 Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah.
I'd love to know that.
Well, if he hits 50 home runs and bats 300 for the next 10 years, he'll be fine. But he's third in batting average at 305. Diaz is 326, so it's doable.
Mhm.
He's like what 18 home runs away from tying Judge's single season, and passing Maris. So he's potential there, and he's 5 RBIs away from the lead as well.
Yeah.
So
If he has a crazy actually, yeah, well, that would be 18 home runs in September would be a crazy September. That would be bananas. Um, so we'll see.
he's capable.
Um,
And Bo Bichette's just sitting there still leading the league in
and
hits
hits.
like he does every year, and no one talks about it. It's kind of strange to me. I didn't
It
realize the dude.
is, and he plays a premier position, and he's outperforming expectations. Um, I don't know, maybe I can't explain it either. He looks the part, right? He's got the flow, he's got the name, but not the
And
hobby love.
I didn't realize Ohtani moved ahead of Matt Olson in home runs by one. So
The real deal.
people have seen. Here's the other downside. You got to think like to have this injury right before he's going to sign the biggest free agent contract in the history of the world. And just think if it was 600 or 700 million because of his dual threat ability, and now all of a sudden the pitching side of it gets really shaky. I mean, they're saying it could be a difference between a couple $100 million, based on that. So what horrible timing for that injury. Although he's still going to be just fine
I think
financially.
so. I think so. I think
But I think
he.
it did take a little bit of a hit because now
Oh
people have
yeah.
to say, all right, he's a premier hitter, but is he going to be a long-time premier starting pitcher too?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so instead of just his grandkids being okay, it'll just be his grandkids,
Right.
kids.
Yeah.
So just one generation. It's getting shorted there a little bit. And the last piece of news that I did want to touch on, and I'm a big fan of this guy, just because in a hobby or in a news cycle that is either hits, um, uh, scam. This guy is a breath of fresh air. He always says what's on his mind. And I'm talking about Brian Gray, formerly the CEO of Leaf. He stepped down this week, and says that he's already handpicked his successor,
Successor.
his replacement. I'll go with
There you go.
replacement. Josh, did you have like a little press release thing ready to go there?
Yeah, I think got on X, formerly known as Twitter. This was his statement. I'll read it for those that are listening. It says, "Dear Hobby," this is Brian Gray of Leaf. "Dear Hobby, for the last year, the Leaf team and I have been looking for the right time and for the right person who could step into the CEO role at Leaf and allow me to pass the baton after over 30 years of building hobby businesses, including my most recent success, Leaf Trading Cards. This has been a long race. For the first time within the past year, I am tired. I need to create margin in my life to focus on health, family, and all the things I love about life that were relegated to the back burner over these 3 decades. Fortunately, the perfect person has been found to take the reins that will allow me to transition from this role. Leaf will share details very soon on this hand-picked successor. I do want to recognize that the team we have built is exceptional, without which I would not have been able to make this difficult choice." So there are rumors floating around about there that he's going to go to Fanatics, or Fanatics is scooping him up. That doesn't really line up with him being tired and wanting to create a little more margin, but he could say by going over to Fanatics and working under, that does create some margin for him. So you never know. Fanatics is that buying freight train. Maybe they snagged him. Fun fact, I ate in the same room with him at our distributor dinner at the National. I was like 15 feet away from him.
Well, speaking of the National, if you guys haven't caught it, Jeff Wilson over at Sports Card Investor had a great interview with him at the National. It's on his channel. And I wonder if Jeff knew about this. He had to keep his mouth shut about it because what was the Nationals? What now in our rearview mirror about a month ago? I wonder how long Brian knew about this. Who he told at the National that this was going to happen, and then it came out just last week. Big personality. I love the fact that he would always use. He wouldn't use non-licensed. He'd always use player licensed. Talking about his product.
Half full, not half empty. There you go.
Absolutely. And look, I know it's player licensed, but you've had a lot of success with Leaf products in the shop.
Yeah. Oh, I told someone on Saturday, I was like, don't sleep on Leaf products. We sell the daylights out of it here at the shop. It's more affordable because it's not licensed, or it's only player licensed, but there's big names in it all the time. We've had some great cards pulled from it. It doesn't break the bank. It's easier for us to stock, which makes the availability easier as well. So yeah, we're big fans of Leaf stuff at the shop. Don't get me wrong. If you're going to have a autograph of a player, you'd always want it out of a licensed product over non-licensed. But where else can you get some of these Curry and Giannis and all these big names? I do say we've had, in the 6 years that I've owned the shop, one Michael Jordan autographed card pulled out of a product off the shelf, and it was out of a Leaf product. So
wow,
yeah, just because I think he's exclusive to Upper Deck or something. But
yeah. And now it's time for some listener question. Jacob, throw this question up here. I wanted to get Josh's take on it because he's mentioned this a couple times on the podcast. And I always, in full disclosure, I always get a little cringy around this. And you do not seem to be cringy about this at all because of that Zion card that you told us about. But the question is for you guys who are listening is how can I fix the side edges on the left and top left corner on this card? And they were showing a photo of it because I want to send it to PSA. So generally, if I see any issues and it's not a PC card, I'm not sending it. I'm keeping it raw and then disclosing it. But Josh, you seem to be sort of bullish on taking some of these things and seeing what you could do with them. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Tip number 1, when you're sleeving a card, oftentimes this is what happens. The bottom right corner goes in first, no issues, because you can open the sleeve up, it goes in there. But when you go to that bottom left corner, it catches that sleeve and it'll often do damage. And they'll tell you, submitters and graders and stuff will say that bottom left corner is always the corner that's damaged. So the tip is take your finger, slice the sleeve open, or take a scissor or razor blade and cut the sides. That way you can literally just, let me get it in here. You can just slide the card and the edges never touch anything. That's step 1. That's how to prevent it. But yeah, there's ways to lay these corners down. And people have probably heard us say that that 1-of-1 black disco Zion that was pulled at the shop that sold at auction a year later for $100,000. It supposedly had a corner that needed some work done on it. So, Kurt's Card Care, we sell that down here at the shop, and you can get it through Kurt's as well. But there's some tools in there to kind of work that corner and lay it down. We've seen, all sorts of tips and tricks. One easy one is after the card is penny sleeved and it's in one of those submission sleeves, the really flexible case that you have to send them into grading. But that will squeeze the corner in itself if you get the card down in it far enough. And just having that pressure, laying the corner down. But you probably have worked on cards. I don't work on cards because I've worked on one card and it was an expensive card and I damaged the corner some more. So I refuse to do that. But I know there's tips and tricks flattening out those corners and getting that top layer of cardboard to lay down flat on it. And again, it's different for chrome cards than it is for paper cards. And if a card has a black edge like this one, take a black Sharpie and color on it. No, don't do that. I'm just kidding.
Please don't do that. Please don't.
Believe it or not, there's things under a magnifying glass.
Yeah, Josh, I tell you, man, I'm the furthest I will go is just a little bit of elbow grease on a chrome card. Because I have seen what I thought was a print line, and I put a little elbow grease with a microfiber cloth or an eyeglass cleaner, not any liquid, but just the cloth, and it comes right up. So if you see an issue with something, and we've talked about this on the podcast, and I don't know why art, like fine art, restoration, you're good. You're okay. It's like a thing, the thumbs up. But as far as restoring a sports card,
no,
it is poo-pooed on. They do not like it. Collectors do not like it. So we've talked about it. If you are taking something off of a card, like a fingerprint, maybe like a little bit of cardboard, like a little tag that didn't get cut off during the process, if you can get that off of there, then I feel like that's accepted in the hobby. But if you are adding something to the card, as Josh was playfully being facetious about taking a little black Sharpie, that is a no. So hopefully that helps. Jacob, next question. I am new to buying a card on eBay. If I'm interested in a card, I guess this is left out. Is it proper etiquette to DM the seller?
So I do have experience with this. We get DM'd often because of the amount of cards we have on eBay. So the smart ones look at our eBay shop and see that it says Grand Slam Cards Rock Hill. And so then they Google Grand Slam Cards Rock Hill and they find us on Instagram, Facebook, and private message us that way. And we'll work a deal off of eBay to avoid the fees of eBay. But you start messaging through eBay, you're risking your account getting shut down because eBay puts a quick stop to any type of negotiating or talking about negotiating for a card outside of eBay using eBay's platform. So if you're smart, find that person outside of eBay, do all your messaging there, or they'll suspend your account or warn you. But we have it all. We do it all the time. They want to know our lowest price, and if they can PayPal friends and family. We're probably a little safer to PayPal friends and family. They see we're an actual legit brick and mortar card shop, and so we had someone message us about a Chris Olave Color Blast and paid $900 for the card off of eBay. And we just ship it direct and send them a picture of their tracking number and off you go. But don't talk money outside of eBay on eBay's platform. They monitor those chats. They probably have keywords that flag them, and you'll get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, the only time I get DM'd on eBay, it's about maybe a transaction, like where is it, or you say that it's shipped, and it's usually a buyer that's really impatient. I try to ship same day, so I don't get a lot of that. I don't know if I've ever gotten a DM about taking a price or something, or negotiating a price. I think it's because I have best offer already on. Now I have had some ridiculous offers on best offer because I don't put a floor. Like on eBay, you could put a floor on what the lowest price you'll even consider, and I don't have that turned on. So sometimes I'll have back and forth. Like recently, I had a buyer offer, like if let's just say it was $100 card, they offered $15, and so I countered at $99.99. I think they got the message.
They get the hint at that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you can negotiate price in the DMs of eBay. You just can't talk about purchasing it off of eBay. That's what will get you in trouble. So, because oftentimes someone says, if you'll lower the price to $99, buy it now, I'll go in and buy it immediately. And eBay's fine with that because the sale's still going through their platform.
One more question here. Do you know, prior to release or releases, how far out typically the checklist gets released? Pet peeve of mine in the hobby. As you know, I try to put these new releases for the shop into the show notes, and then sometimes it'll be that week, it'll be Monday, and the release is Wednesday, and there's not a checklist, and it's one of the most annoying things. How in the world would a manufacturer not know or have a checklist available if they're releasing a product 2 days later? It's baffling to me. Now, I think Topps has gotten a little bit better about it, but I think it's a non-negotiable. Those things need to be ready to go if you're about to sell the product. Any thoughts on this, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it from they can keep whatever hidden that they want. It's just gonna maybe not be as good a sales pitch to sell the product. So the more information they can release on it, the better. I've not been I'm always like, let's go to the checklist once it's on the shelf and people are asking about it, and we'll go look at the checklist at that time. So prior, I'm not very knowledgeable about how soon they do that. But my pet peeve is when they'll do like mystery jersey product or mystery helmet product, and the box will list all the players you could, and or you'll go to the website and it'll list these 40 players and more. Well, how many more? Who else is in there? So for breaking, you couldn't. I used to go there for break. We're like, hey, we'll sell out the players by name. If I knew there was 200 different players in this product, I could sell 200 spots. But when they only give you 40 and they say, and many more, that's where I don't like it. So that bothers me. But yeah, you probably are more familiar with the checklists than I am. But they're only cutting themselves short by not having that checklist available for people to see. Because, man, I didn't realize there was all these guys that autographed in this product. So I would be interested in buying this.
To answer the question, I think for major releases, Series 1, Series 2, Bowman, I think those are pretty good. And I think I've seen them as early as 2 or 3 weeks before release. So I think that's a good, safe number there. You know, I don't know if it's reasonable to think that they would have checklists months in advance. But that's just my ignorance on the manufacturing process of this stuff. So if you guys know, drop some comments and let us know what the earliest you've ever seen a checklist get released for a product. So.
I got to do this too. All right, so for this segment, I'll try not to be a D-bag, but so we ordered some products from showyourslabs.com for the shop. They sent us a couple of these. And I said,
slab. It's a slab chain. Hold that up again. It's a slab chain.
Slab chain is what they call it. And you see, Logan Paul made it famous wearing it at, the Pikachu card at WrestleMania. But so we opened one up and I said, oh, this is funny. I want to wear it. So I put it on. And then like moments later, FedEx delivered our latest PSA submission. And I said, ooh, I have a Tom Brady downtown card in that submission. So we popped it out. I pulled the Brady out. I popped it in here. Unfortunately, I got a 9, but I'll take it. Optic 2022 Optic Tom Brady. So sometimes you'll see me at the shop wearing this just to be that guy. But there you go. We are going to start carrying these at some point in the near future. So if you want your own, you can get it at Grand Slam.
Awesome.
Or go to showyourslabs.com and order your own.
And now let's wrap up our episode with crazy stat of the week. I am really bad about this. I need to start doing my homework with regards to this, but Josh is usually very, very good about finding a stat that just makes you go, I will update listeners. I did go see Blue Beetle this weekend, and it was not bad. I think it's a function of me just being old now and being spoiled by early Marvel, but it's not bad. It's an entertaining, non-woke movie, which I'm enjoying.
Surprising. I would be surprised if it was. I am surprised. I kind of assumed it would be a little woke, but it's good to know that it's not. Have you seen? There's a Liam Neeson movie out called Retribution, I think. That sound familiar? So like I halfway, my wife's asking what do I want to do for my birthday? And I want to go out to eat. So we're going to go out to eat tonight. And then there's a movie. I want to see Mission Impossible, the newest one again, but it's a 3-hour movie. We got work and school and kids and all that. So I don't want to make someone stay up till midnight on a school night just to tease me. So Retribution's only an hour and like 30 minutes, and it's a Liam Neeson movie. So we'll see. I don't know. But I don't have a stat this week. I do have kind of a cool fact. And this came from a random customer that reached out to us via social media and asked if this had any value. It's an old early 90s pack of baseball rookies. So Like most early 90s baseball cards, there's little to no value here. The back was what intrigued me. Let me read a little bit of this. On the back, the title says Baseball Card Collecting, America's Hobby. It says, baseball cards were first issued in the late 1880s by tobacco companies, but the modern age of collecting began when Topps Chewing Gum issued its first major set in 1952. The 52 Mickey Mantle. What began a century ago as a hobby is now a big business for all ages. Rookie cards score the biggest gains, with annual investment returns averaging 40% during the 1980s. Individual rookie cards' values can be unpredictable. Kevin Mitchell's Topps rookie card was worth little more than a dime when it appeared in 1987. Now his card has soared to $3. It gets kind of crazier. Keep listening. It says Dave Stewart, Mike Scott, and Frank Viola rookie cards drew little interest from collectors when they were issued, but have recently increased dramatically in value. Although the rookie cards in the package are primarily commons now, the chance that their value will increase in the future is much higher than it is for regular common cards. Rookie cards are an exciting investment opportunity because the rookie cards you buy today could be tomorrow's star cards. Here's where it gets really interesting. As with any collectible, condition is key element in baseball cards' value. A 1952 Topps rookie card of Mickey Mantle in mint condition is now worth about $6,500. While one in average condition is only worth around $1,000.
Oh.
Even more recent baseball cards vary in value due to condition. A mint Don Mattingly Donruss rookie card sells for around $65, but one with just a few light creases may be only worth $5. You can protect your investment with Mega Cards pages, card holders, frames, and binders. Mega Cards guarantees not only the original collectible cards are included in this pack, no reprints, no duplicates. So, in 1992, 91, when this was out, Mickey Mantle's mint condition rookie card was worth $6,500. So if you bought it at $6,500, well, we know that a 9.5 sold for $12.6 million. Here's what an average condition one is only worth around $1,000. A PSA 1 is like 10,000 now. That's not so an average one has gone from 1,000 to probably a couple 100,000 for an average condition one. Or that I just thought as I was reading the back of that, my jaw just dropped, because here you have it in 1991 or whenever this was made, actual prices printed by a manufacturer. So
there's two sides to that cautionary tale. There's the Mickey Mantle side, and then there's the Kevin Mitchell side. Because there's no way I'm paying $3 for a Kevin Mitchell rookie card.
Absolutely not. But back then, it soared all the way up to $3.
All right, guys. If you guys have made it this far, thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Josh, thank you for joining us on your birthday. Happy birthday again. Jacob, thank you for producing and helping out behind the scenes. Josh, you have any closing thoughts before we let folks go?
Nope. Thanks for listening. Come see us at the shop, and see you next week.
See you guys. Bye.